Rebel salute, rebel salute, rebel salute, everyone, wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary, the contrarian. Today, another chit chat, another waffle, another rantings about politics, Kenyan politics, or should I say politics. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades. I'll be brief. I'll be trying to be here 30 minutes or maybe more, depending on how the conversation goes. But I just wanted to respond to this because I saw this on another channel where they were really exploring what Mr. Willy Mutunga, this former Chief Justice of Kenya, of the Supreme Court, head of Supreme Court, that is, who was being interviewed in the Star Report, I think, where the Star of Nairobi or something like that, some newspaper in Nairobi somewhere based. And he said that there could be a popular uprising against Ruto's regime. And I would like to say that I totally don't think so. Not for the reasons that you think, not because I support Ruto, not because I'm ignoring the fact that there's actually resentment on the ground against Ruto's regime, especially with the advent of him, along with his MPs, raising taxes on the wananchi and his failed campaign promises and his breach of the constitution. I mean, in the housing levy, where he wants to actually shove it down our throats. He wants to force us to accept that the houses that he wants to build in various counties, okay, and many among other things, whether it's the cost of living, price of fuel, you name it. If I was to ask any Kenyan right now on the road, anyone, they can tell you what's going wrong with this regime. So you take a pick. There's a million reasons right now for why you would not be happy with the Kenyan president, okay? But I would like to disagree with Willy Mutunga's observation of what he thinks might happen. For this simple reason, yes, there is resentment against this regime, but you have to understand this. Among his supporters, the Kenya Kwanza side, the Kenya Kwanza strongholds, okay, they are dissatisfied with his campaign promises and his work so far, but I don't think they're really ready to see him go. I don't think they hate him so much to a point where they want him out, okay? And I'm talking about Rift Valley and Central Province, yes. I don't think they want him out. Yes, they're tired of him, and the opposition leaders there are trying to convince them that they made a huge mistakes and calling some of them to gaggers. But I don't think they want Ruto out of office. Now, if you're talking about the rest of the country, yes, they might say that, we are tired of Ruto and we won't mind seeing him get out of office. But he's only been there for 12 months, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. Yes, you might argue that you've seen enough of what he's doing and the trajectory in which he's leading us economically or otherwise is enough to suggest that this man should be out of the office, okay? He cannot continue leading Kenya. You might make a good argument about that, but I would say, pump your brakes, mister. Pump your brakes. It's not as easy as that, okay? Failed campaign promises and a breach of the constitution here and there does not necessarily mean that it's time to remove him. Yes, I know you would want to remove him, and there's reasons to remove him, but not yet, not yet. 12 months is not enough, ladies and gentlemen. I know you are like, oh, no. I know the feeling. I will walk you through this. So chime in. Whatever you're watching, wherever you are, chime in. I'll post the link right now. So if you want to join the live, you can have the chance to, okay? Let me click the link. Click the link to join the studio. Live studio, okay? Let me post the link, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. before we continue, so I can give people opportunity, the people who want to join and be the part of it. David Lafont, thank you very much. You will try to listen. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mr. Lafont. Lafont. I will be. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. Let's continue. There's a link for those who would like to join and continue the discussion, okay? Now, another related news here that I would like to highlight. I was looking at, it's been going around. I don't know how true it is, but Dr. Miguna posted it first. Actually, he posted in his Twitter page first a few days ago. Actually, it was last week. Okay, let me take a sip of coffee. Always have coffee. Okay. He mentioned something. Okay, he mentioned that Raila Odinga had been paid equivalent of, I think, a couple of million, 6 billion Kenyan shillings, which is around, I don't know what, 60 million. Is it $60 million? Yes. Mathematicians, you can do that. And he suggested that the reason why the Mandamano was stopped is because William Samoei Ruto paid off Raila Odinga in one of his accounts, offshore accounts, to stop the Mandamano. Now, remember, let's connect the dots. Maina Njenga also told us a few weeks ago, it's been a month or two now, when he was being interviewed, and he mentioned that Raila Odinga met with Suluhu, the president of Tanzania, and William Ruto at night, and among the people who were present in that meeting, secret night meeting, was Junet Mohammed and Hassan Joho. And the discussion was about how these two can stop the protest, the Mandamano, okay, how they can bring peace, whatever. And after that, Maina Njenga said that Raila Odinga called him and asked him to stop the Mandamano. Remember, Maina Njenga, the first Mandamano, let me take you guys back, if you remember. The first Mandamano was not successful, if you guys can remember. It wasn't that successful. So Raila Odinga tried again, and what's his name? Duale came to Spice FM and told us that he had evidence, empirical evidence, that the Kenyatta family were financing this Mandamano. And then after that, connect the dots, you should know this, Maina Njenga and Uhuru Kenyatta, they go way back. These two go way back, okay? Remember, during when Uhuru Kenyatta was taken to the ICC, there was evidence. Ocampo told us the evidence. He presented the evidence telling us that actually suggested, exposed that Uhuru Kenyatta was paying Mungiki through the head of Mungiki himself, Maina Njenga, to commit atrocities against their perceived enemies, okay? So Maina Njenga and Uhuru Kenyatta, they go hand to hand. They go together way back, like peanut butter jelly sandwich, okay? Peanut butter and jelly, okay? These two, they go way back. So when Raila started the Mandamano and his brother Uhuru, they were not that successful, okay? It was only confined to some parts of Nyanza province and Nairobi, some parts of Nairobi, Kibera, and so forth, okay? It wasn't nationwide, okay? Then they kind of ramped it up by bringing it Maina Njenga and bringing his crew, the Mungiki, the youths, to help them stage a Mandamano in the central province to create the perception that also central province people are also against this regime. And it started picking up steam, okay? And of course, he also did the same thing in the coast province. So the Maandamano was picking up steam, not as much as it was in 2017, but it was picking up steam, okay? We're trying to create this perception that the majority of the Kenyan citizens were against this regime, okay? And to some degree, they were successful, okay? So in that one of the interviews, Maina Njenga mentioned that he had a call from Raila Odinga asking him to stop the Maandamano after he met William Ruto secretly somewhere in Mombasa in a meeting that was mediated by Suluhu, the Tanzanian president. Of course, this was denied by the president, and Raila Odinga and Suluhu, okay? So, what I'm trying to say is this. Why Willy Mutunga is trying to convince us that, you know, William Ruto might not make his 5 years, I disagree. The reason why I disagree is, number one, the Kenyan people don't see things the same, okay? The opposition, the Azimio folks, you know, their supporters, they put all their trust in their leaders, especially their cult leader, Raila Amolo Odinga. Okay? The problem with putting trust in one person is that you will always be manipulated as far as, you know, if your leader gains something, he has something to gain, he can always manipulate you guys into not continuing with your movement. If your leader, your cult leader, who you believe with all your heart, is compromised, you will go nowhere. Your vision shall not be actualized, your goals, your objective, okay? We see these things. I keep on asking my Azimio friends, and I'm not Kenya Kwanza, I'm independent. For those who are wondering where I stand politically, I'm independent, but I want to actually brush up on Azimio folks, because these are the guys who are actually in the opposition, who are supposed to be keeping President Ruto in his toes. But here you are, you have the leader of the opposition, and that's why I keep on telling the Azimio folks, please free yourself from this cult. Your leaders are letting you down. There was a time where I was actually supporting this guy, Raila Odinga. I actually believed that he was the guy who could lead this country to a new dispensation, where the rule of law shall be respected, the constitution shall be implemented, and we shall have real democracy. But as it turns out, this man is compromised, okay? He's nothing but a Western puppet, just like Ruto is, and just like Uhuru Kenyatta, his predecessor, is. So, Azimio, the mistake that you make by putting all your eggs in one place, by putting all your trust in Raila Odinga, it stops you for actually bringing revolution, okay? Because you guys sit there and you're waiting for Raila Odinga to tell you to twende maandamano. Okay, I was listening to Sifuna one time and he stood up in the podium and said the same thing. He was like, oh, you know what, Raila, just tell us. Please tell us. Ukisema na tutaenda. They're waiting for that. Let's go maandamano. They're waiting for the green light from Azimio. You cannot wait for one person to tell you how you feel or what to do. That's a classic definition of being a zombie. You've been zombified to be listening to your cult leader, Raila Odinga. You cannot have this. You have to have your mind of your own. I often challenge my Azimio friends that, hey, listen, sit down and start thinking critically. Because this has been happening more than now 4 times or 3 times. This man, Raila Odinga, and I'm not making this about Raila Odinga, but I'm mentioning him because he could have been the instrumental person to remove Ruto. But he can't and he will not, because more than likely he has entered in agreement with him. Okay? Now, listen to this. In 2013, Raila Odinga lost on a technicality, okay, in the Supreme Court. And guess who was the judge there? this old decrepit man who wants to behave as if now he's all for change. Willy Mutunga is a faker, okay? I won't get deeper into that because I don't want to, whatever. Yes, he was detained in the 1990s during Moi, whatever. Who cares? Moi detained everybody that he disagreed with. So spare me that. I've earned my stripes talk, okay? Just because you're detained by Moi, so what? You're just as fake as the Azimio folks and actually Kenya Kwanza folks, okay? So spare me that speech, okay? But anyway, let's get back to Raila Odinga, this main opposition guy. I've been telling you guys that Raila Odinga's main objective, main role in Kenyan politics is to stop grassroots revolutionary movements from actually changing the status quo, revolutionizing our politics. He's stopping the real revolution from happening. That is the role of Raila Odinga. The role of Raila Odinga. Let me speak to you guys today. Let me speak to you again. Let me speak slowly because I want to be very, very deliberate here. Raila Odinga's main role in Kenyan politics is to stop a real grassroots organic revolutionary movement from kicking off. He does not want that. Don't be fooled. That's why he has always been a constant on the opposition side. Okay? That's his role. That's what these Western governments, the US, the UK, everybody, put him there to do. Okay? He is that. Every time this is a psychological war that you have to understand in order to have a revolution. Listen, from 2002, when it was inevitable that Moi was going to lose the election, remember Raila Odinga was on Moi's cabinet as the KANU Secretary General or something like that, okay? Let me walk you through this, okay? Mutunga, are you listening? Somebody tag Willy Mutunga, okay? Somebody tag Willy Mutunga because I want to speak to his heart. I want to speak to his spirit because Mutunga doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, he told us he was pretending when Miguna was in Canada. He was like, oh, I'm going to bring Miguna. And what happened to that? He kept quiet. So he's a faker, a liar, and just says things to make airwaves. But let me just go back to what I was saying. And I know you might be asking, why are you speaking about Raila Odinga? Again, I'm speaking about Raila Odinga because this man was the person who would have taken out not only Ruto, but Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, let me jog your memory back. Let's go back to the memory lane, okay? 2002, Raila Odinga was the KANU Secretary General of KANU, okay? The wind of change was inevitable. Kibaki was going to be the president. In fact, in my opinion, in my theory, I think they tried to assassinate him when he got involved in that accident which took him to London. Okay, but anyway, Raila caught wind. Okay, alipima weather. Okay, alipima the political weather. He saw that it was inevitable that was it NAC or whatever, that movement, Moi was going to lose. And he jumped ship and joined the other side, okay, to be part of the revolutionary movement. Now, Kibaki came to power. Kibaki started messing up. Raila saw the opportunity and went on the opposition, created was it NAC or whatever the case is, where they went against Kibaki. I'm walking through. Follow me with this, okay? So Raila became the official opposition guy. He was the main guy that was opposing Kibaki, who was messing up, okay? So people started trusting Raila. Raila was the man. We were looking at him for change, okay? And he actually made good strides, okay? So he led the Mutunga movement in 2005 when we had that referendum. And subsequently, 2007, we went to the polls and Raila Odinga won. Let's not fake it. Raila won that election. Okay, unfortunately, our country descended to almost civil war. Okay, so Kofi Annan, Condoleezza Rice came in and hashed things out and said, hey, listen, let's have a government of national unity and let's implement this new upcoming 2010 constitution, okay, where we shall have this power sharing agreement until then. All right. Guess who was on this negotiating table? Ruto and Martha Karua on the opposite side. Martha Karua, we should never forget, Martha Karua was very, very nasty. This woman, that's why when I see her in 2023 try to pretend to be a change, somebody pro change, I just feel like throwing up. But let's continue. Raila Odinga, okay, now became the prime minister with carpets and everything, okay? He was doing his job. He realized that he was duped by Kibaki, okay? So he really was given cars and the carpet and a few powers here and there, but he really had no real power. The real power still stayed with Kibaki. So come 2013, okay, 2013, Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were not qualified to run. Let's not forget that. They did not pass Chapter 6. They were not supposed to run because they were facing heinous crimes against humanity in ICC. They were not supposed to run. They were supposed to be, if the constitution was supposed to be followed as it was, Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were not supposed to be at the ballot box because they could not pass Chapter 6. They have pending cases. And this is where people get confused. Most Kenyans think that, oh, you have to be found guilty in order to not run, okay? No. If a crime is brought against you, if an allegation is brought against you and you're a presidential candidate, automatically you can't run, okay? You have to clear up your name first before you continue running, okay? So these two were not supposed to run. Uhuru and Ruto, okay? But anyway, they ran anyway. They didn't care. It's Kenya. They went there, made some ninio, and the cases were dropped after the witnesses were killed. Okay, witnesses in those cases, whether the witnesses that were going to testify against Uhuru and the witnesses that were going to testify against Ruto, they were killed. Okay, so the cases stalled. Okay, but anyway, Kenya being Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta being the trillionaire that he is in Kenyan shillings, okay, he owns Kenya. Who cares? He doesn't care. He ran and rigged himself. Okay, Willy Mutunga was sitting at the helm. Willy Mutunga, okay, who is now pretending to be speaking all this good stuff. But anyway, so Raila Odinga went to the Supreme Court, took petition, okay, the results, and lost on a technicality, okay? Fast forward, Raila is still the main guy on the opposition, okay? We are still following Raila. Let's act like we are now Azimio followers. We are following Raila, okay? Come 2017, okay? The structure of the electoral process was really watertight. That's why they went after Msando, okay? Uhuru Kenyatta went ahead and tried to rig himself in 2017. And thank God for the gallant, valiant, very brave man in the name of Maraga Chief Justice Maraga, who said, no, we have to follow the law. And he said, this election is null and void. He stood up, okay, risking his life. What a man, what a mind, what a hero from Abagusi community. My brothers from Kisii, if there's one person you should look up to, is Maraga, Justice Maraga. That man stood up and risked everything to do that. Anyway, it was clear that Uhuru Kenyatta had lost that elections, and Maraga said this is null and void. This thing is not clear. So he said, in order for another election to happen, the IEBC needs to be restructured, and there was some raft of changes that needed to happen before we have the next election. Okay, for an election to happen again. Okay, because the first election was null and void. Okay, nothing was clear. It was not transparent. So we had to have another one. But Uhuru Kenyatta, being the arrogant man that he is, the most arrogant man in Kenyan history. I'm telling you, that's why when I hear this Azimio folks talk about Ruto is arrogant, they are forgetting how Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta was. I mean, Uhuru Kenyatta was the Lucifer himself. Okay, that man didn't care about anything. In fact, my blood boils when I talk about him. I just get mad. So let me calm myself down. But anyway, Uhuru Kenyatta said that I don't care about the constitution. I'm the supreme leader of Kenya. His family has been stealing land, stealing everything, owns half of Kenya, if not more, okay? Because they started stealing since his father in 1963 started taking land from everyone, okay? And owning business, owning the banks, owning everything. He's been a Western stooge for. But anyway, let's not get away from the talks. So Uhuru Kenyatta went on and declared himself president after shooting Justice Mwita's bodyguard, one of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, okay? And forced Maraga. You could see Maraga's face in the second judgment. Listen, and declared himself. In fact, it was said that he forced Maraga to come to his inauguration. You could see the face of Maraga when Raila put the petition, the second petition against it. Raila said, "I'm not going to be part of this second election because the changes that the Supreme Court, that Maraga suggested should be done, was not satisfied. So there was no reason for Raila Odinga to be part of it." But anyway, Uhuru didn't care about that because Uhuru is a spoiled brat who thinks he owns Kenya. He went ahead and unleashed deadly forces when the Azimio protesters went to the streets. And for the first time in history since 2002, something that really was very unique. Most Kenyans, with the exception of Rift Valley and Central Province, the whole country stood up. I was in tears watching young men who are taking buses. Joho was giving us buses, Coast Bus and Malindi Bus, which was coming. Because they said they were going to converge in Uhuru Park to declare Raila Odinga as the people's president. I feel the goosebumps when I feel about this. I remember watching a clip of a young man who stood up, was being interviewed by the NTV. And he said this, remember, William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were sending police forces, deadly police forces, to stop wananchi from coming from Mombasa to Nairobi to Uhuru Park, from Kisumu to Uhuru Park, from everywhere in the country, okay, from going to the Uhuru Park, because the people say they are going to converge, and Baba Mpaka Pewe Kipao, he has to be declared, he has to be sworn in as the people's. I remember seeing this young man, and I got to tears to this day. I get teary when I remember that interview, who stood up and he said, "I don't care if I die, but I just want to see Raila Odinga being declared the president of the Republic of Kenya." What a proud feeling that I felt when I watched that young man. He said, "I don't care if Uhuru Kenyatta send the whole army to kill us. We are going to die today. If it means death." It was like, what's his name when he said, "Give me freedom or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death." All the youth across the nation said, we must see Raila Odinga be sworn in as the president, the people's president of the Republic of Kenya. It was a moment that I've never been so proud to be a Kenyan. I saw young youth who said, even if they bring tear gas, we shall go. Even if they bring the bullets, we are willing to die. They went and they converged. I remember the day Uhuru Kenyatta tried to bring some police forces at Uhuru Park, and the police were overwhelmed by the thousand upon the thousand that were there, that said, "Ukitaka kuua, rusheni hiyo bunduki. Kama ni tear gas agasa. Hiyo sio kitu. We are willing to die." Kenyans had enough. They said there has to be change. We are done with Uhuru Kenyatta. He has to leave. He cannot rule by dictum. We have a constitution, and Raila won the election, and he has to be declared the president, the people's president of the Republic of Kenya. What a moment it was. I've never been so proud of the people of Kenya when they said, if it's death, it's death. Come on, mbaya ni mbaya. What a day. I long to see another day like that, when people rose like that. And so Raila came up and he was sworn in, and the swearing in ceremony was done, conducted by none other than Miguna. Okay? And we saw that. Even the TV, the NTV, they shut down the national TV. They didn't want to show us when Baba was being sworn in. Oh, what a proud moment. What I feel so, I'm telling you, I feel the goosebump when I remember that moment. Because when Baba said, I mean, the whole crowd, I'm telling you, thousands of people could not hold. It was like a neurosis spree. Okay? When Baba said, I, Raila, Amolo, and the crowd just erupted. I mean, it was something. Uhuru knew it was time for him to pack and go. He had no choice, because the plan was, after Raila Odinga was sworn in, the plan was we were going to march to the State House and forcefully remove that despot. And he knew his time was over. Raila Odinga went there and took the kipao. And after he took the kipao, what did he do? We were waiting for him to tell us, because the plan was, let's go to the State House. We were going to walk to the State House and remove Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember what happened in Singapore? Is it Singapore? Not Singapore. Was it Pakistan? One of these countries up here. Was it one of these countries where the people went and took over the presidential palace? Okay, and the president had to fly out of the country. That is what was going to happen in Kenya. But Raila Odinga, being Raila Odinga, chose. He took the kipao, and what did he do? He got into this Range Rover and dipped. Okay, and we were like, what's going on? What's going on, Raila Odinga? You are our leader. What's going on? You are supposed to be, you're the president now. Why are you running? Why are you running? Anyway, few days later, Uhuru Kenyatta was in talks, secretly in talks with Raila Odinga. They had struck a deal secretly already. Him and Musalia Mudavadi and all that, Kalonzo Musyoka, these cowards who didn't show up during the swearing process. Kumbe, Raila Odinga had made a deal with Uhuru Kenyatta, the despot. Okay? So, there when the tyranny started, the nightmare started, Uhuru Kenyatta went after the people. He went after Miguna. He went after everybody who was there, starting jailing people. Okay? So, the people were still waiting for Raila Odinga for Ninio. Mara kidogo, Raila Odinga, with his daughter, and Paul Mwangi, his lawyer, went and met secretly Uhuru Kenyatta and struck a deal. And there he went and had a handshake. And the people who risked their lives to show up at that place, at Uhuru Park, to see him getting sworn in as the people's president, were disappointed, because they thought Raila Odinga was finally, after being denied the presidency, finally, when we gave him the power, we gave him our sovereign power to be president of the Republic of Kenya. Raila Odinga took that power and took it back to the very person that we rejected in Uhuru Kenyatta. That is the height, I'm telling you, the height of the worst thing that you can ever do, worst thing than what Judas did. We felt deflated. We were like, what's going on? The very person that we were fighting against, Raila joined hands with him. And some of us, it was very clear to some of us that Raila Odinga never was cared about being president. It was very clear that Raila Odinga main job, duty was to act as the main opposition guy. So guess what? After the handshake, Raila Odinga was not popular. People were disappointed. The people left him. So what did he do? He went after the very person who he knew had the support of the people. Him and Kenyatta, they went after Miguna, because remember, Miguna had the NRM Kenya, okay, the National Resistance Movement for Kenya. So they went after him and exiled him. Raila pretended that he was fighting for him to come back, but he wasn't. He wanted NRM, because remember, Miguna had so much influence. If he had stayed in Kenya, that was enough for him to even take out Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in that handshake. So they had to take him they had to cut off the head of the movement by taking Raila Miguna out of forcefully exiling Miguna out of Kenya. So then after that, that's when the horror begins. The horror began. The people who died and that whatever were never compensated. Now that Uhuru Kenyatta had absolute power, it is rumored that Raila Odinga received $2 billion, I think $6 billion also, $6 billion dollars 6 billion Kenyan shillings. I cannot verify that, but he was paid. But after that, Uhuru Kenyatta had all the levels of power, and he was brutalizing anyone. He didn't care about the Supreme Court. He didn't care about the legislative body. He will brutalize anybody. Brutal, absolute. He was like a lion who was mad and wanted revenge on the Kenyan people. How dare you Kenyans, try to remove me by popular revolution. He was like a lion who was ready to devour anyone who did not support him. Uhuru Kenyatta was like the devil himself. Oh, Raila went quiet. All the people who were corrupt under Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila was washing them off. The Waigurus saying they're okay. Oh, I'm taking you back. So let me take you to 2022 now. Here comes 2022. Raila Odinga still being supported by the despot Uhuru Kenyatta. Some of the Ozimio folks were still with him. There were not so many. Because the anointing left Raila Odinga. He was not with the people. The people were not with him. The people had left him, but he didn't know that. He was still sticking his guns with Uhuru Kenyatta, thinking Uhuru Kenyatta will give him the presidency. No. Uhuru Kenyatta had already made a pact with Ruto that 10 years for me, 10 years for you. That's why Sabina Chege 2 days ago asked himself, like, our leader was Jubilee, okay? And he said our leader was talking all this nonsense, but at the end of the day, he gave power to Ruto, okay? And after giving power to Ruto, okay, he started saying, this government is... No. This was organized, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, 2022 comes along. Raila Odinga is doing the same thing. He obviously lost because the will of the people was not with him. He lost fair and square. Don't be fooled. He tried to go to the Supreme Court and was asked, can you tell us which server are you claiming that had this abracadabra that happened? Which server? Show us, Mr. Raila. That's what Smoking Wanjara asked him. Please show us which server. And they could not. It was clear as day. Okay, the presidential result was determined at the polling station, and that polling station was transmitting live in the portal. So you could be anywhere in the world and log in the portal and see the results in every poll station in Kenya. It was clear as day. Raila Odinga lost. This is what he didn't know. This is what he failed to understand. The will of the people from 2017, the people had left him. Unfortunately, the people that left him thought Ruto was going to be the answer. So 2022, he goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court tells him, hey, this is hot hair. Get out of here. But Raila knew he was not mad about that because he had a plan. Raila being Raila, he has to do his job. He has to be relevant. So he went to Mandamano. The whole point of Mandamano was this. Let me tell you something. This is where this is the golden nugget here. This is why the Mandamano was made, because you might ask yourself, Raila, remember, he said, if I lose fair and square, I shall accept it. But he did not. He lost fair and square, went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court told him, no, you're in. Because remember, they asked him, if the Supreme Court rules against you, are you going to accept it? And say, yes, I'm going to accept it. But no, he did not. So I'll tell you why. Raila Odinga had to go to Mandamano. Raila Odinga had to go Mandamano to, number one, the main reason why Mandamano was doing, to reclaim his position as the main face of the opposition. Because notice this. This is what they're doing. If Raila will not go to Mandamano, if Raila decided not to go to Mandamano and accept what Ruto did, okay, and accept that Ruto won, there would be a movement. Because remember, Ruto is undertaking what IMF is telling him to do. This started with Uhuru Kenyatta and even Kibaki and even Moi. But it went on steroids during Uhuru Kenyatta. So they knew the policies that Ruto is the continuation of Uhuru Kenyatta's policies that were designed, crafted, and brought forward by the IMF were going to be unpopular. Okay, they knew this. And this will make the people turn against Ruto. Okay? But Raila wanting to maintain his position as the face of the opposition, he had to go to maandamano to be seen as the very person who is against the establishment, to be seen as the guy, mtetezi wa wanyonge, the person who fights for the poor. He has to maintain that position. That's why they took out Miguna in 2017. Because if Miguna would have stayed in Kenya, Miguna was going to inherit that face of the guy in the opposition, the revolutionary movement, because Raila joined hands with Uhuru Kenyatta. So people looked at him as a betrayer. He was no longer speaking for the people who are fighting for change. And it was obvious that the next person in line was going to be Miguna. Thank you, Yaya 2K. Thank you, Yaya 2K. Subscribe and share. Thank you. Okay? So in 2022, Raila knew he lost. He lost to Ruto. There's no question about it. Okay? That's why he keeps on giving you this hot air every time. He keeps on saying, oh, tell them to open the server, open the server. At the Supreme Court, they told him, hey, which server do you want us to open? Tell us right now, right now. They could not. They didn't have enough agency, okay? And that's down to Azimio. If you don't have an agency in your polling station, whose fault is that? You can't fault Ruto for that. But anyway, this is the point that I want you to make to understand about Raila Odinga, okay? In 2022, the Mandamano was mainly for Raila Odinga to maintain his face as the face of the opposition. This is not about, I don't know what. No. He wants to maintain that face in the opposition, because if he keeps quiet, okay, and accepted that, already he has been, we're looking at him as dynasty, okay? Thank you, Yaya. When the people, I'm trying to wake them up, Yaya. Yaya 2K, I'm trying to wake up the people of Kenya, okay, so they can see it, all right? That's a good question. Yes, so that's what I'm saying, all right? He has to maintain, he has to have that position, because if he vacates that position, people like Miguna, or any other person, it doesn't have to be Miguna, even Okiom Tata, anyone who stands up, Babu Owino, or anybody, okay, can take that position, okay? And these people are not trusted. Thank you, Brother Benson. Rebel salute, friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, and anyone who knows anything about Brother Benson, please go subscribe to his channel. Thank you very much, brother. Yes. So that's like I say, this is a part of the political class, and Raila is the gatekeeper. He cannot let anyone from the opposition be that face, because he is maintaining the interest of the political elite. If we have an outsider, remember, think about this. Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, Kalonzo, Musyoka, and what's his name? These other rectangular. Ask yourself, these guys are the same faces. Orengo, I don't know who. These people, Martha Karua, these are the same faces who have been in the politics for more than 30 years. They just want to change two parties. They just change parties. Leo Nak, I don't know what. I don't know. Leo today is Kana. Yesterday they were Kanu. Tomorrow they were ODM. The next day they are Nak. The next day they are, I don't know. But it's the same people. Okay? Hey, Goodyear. Goodyear. You know Goodyear. Goodyear, I need to send you something. You've been you are supporting these small channels. Every small channel, you're very consistent. We need to give you a present. I'll tell the people on the other channel to give you something, that your Christmas present. If there's a present, I'll send you a book so you can help me with that. But yes, back to what I was saying. So thanks, Rebel Salute, Goodyear. Rebel Salute. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. These guys, remember, Musyoka, Uhuru, Raila, Ruto, Martha Karua, these guys have been in politics for the last 30 years. They're just changing. They're playing musical chairs. Want to change to ODM today. Yesterday was Kanu. Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Brother Benson. Goodyear needs something. We need to send him something. Goodyear has been a stalwart supporter of this small channel. Thank you very much. God bless you. Yaya, yes. We are supporting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yaya. Help me do this by subscribing and sharing this video. with this channel, with everybody else. And always, you're free to jump in. Thank you very much. Rebel salute, Yaya. Thank you for your support. Yeah, so as I was saying, these guys just play musical chairs. All of them, they're just playing around. Wanajifanya every year, they're morphing to, whether they're on the opposition or we're in the government, they're still the same guys. And the main person who is the face of the opposition, who's gatekeeping, he's making sure there's no outsider that actually can bring a real grassroots revolutionary change, is stopped, is Raila. That's why he's always been the constant person on the opposition. He's the constant. And every time there's an election, he's the one who stays in the opposition. And guess what? He enters into a deal. He enters into a whatever, what do you call it? Enters into a handshake, okay? And this is done by design. So people, the people, because now now think about it as I wrap up, because it's been 40 minutes, but let me say, I want you to think about this. Think about this. People, the Azimio folks who are outraged, okay? They want change. They're looking at Baba. Baba, what's your next move? But what will Baba do if he hasn't done it yet? He already agreed on the accord thing, okay? So guess what's going to happen? All these guys, na hiyo hasira yote wako nayo, okay, waiting anxiously for Baba to give them a go, to go to the streets. At the end of the day, Baba will tell them, it's okay. Nimeongea na Ruto, just like he told us with Kenyatta. Nimeongea na Ruto has agreed to bring the price of living down, bei ya mafuta, so let's not go to maandamano, let's not try to remove him. So poe. Let's wait to 2027, tutamshinda 2027. Don't worry about that. Then they'll change the constitution and have this position, this nonsensical position that they want. That's the whole deal. This deal is to calm people down, okay? To tell people, maintain that, usitoe hao watu. These political elites, they don't want them to change. And Raila Odinga is maintaining that by being the face of the opposition. That's why year after year, he always claimed he won the election, and he used that maandamano as a leverage to maintain his position so he can be seen as the face of the opposition. And if you haven't grasped it, the problem is most of my Azimio friends still put the trust in one person. You cannot put your trust in one person. I'm sorry. And for some reason, I'm not blaming Raila Odinga. Is a human being just like anybody else. He has to look after his interests, unfortunately. Okay? So he's looking at it as like, you know what? Hey, that's why I'm saying, as a people, we should not look at Raila Odinga and wait for him to tell us to bring change. Raila Odinga is done. He's done, whether you like it or not. Yes, he might become the official opposition, head of the opposition. But as far as going after your, never trust. Again, I agree with this. Never trust one person. You cannot trust one person. Okay, this guy has been. We have been looking at him to be the guy who disrupts this rule by the political elites. But unfortunately, he is part of the gang. Okay, so we cannot do anything about it. He will continue this as far as he can. Okay, so the only solution is a new grassroots revolutionary movement, a populist nationalist movement, okay, that will not depend on an individual, but will be wrapped about an ideology to remove Ruto. And it has to start in the streets, in the ground, okay? It has to be, okay? What is my brother Goody saying? Goody is saying people should give up thinking that Raila will be a president. The guy likes fame and is happy to play second fiddles and build his empire. I couldn't agree more. Yes, you're right on the money. It's been how many times that he has done this, okay? So we shouldn't look at one person, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. So that's what I'm saying. So when Willy Mutunga say Ruto is going to be removed by popular revolution, no, it's not going to happen. And for that very reason, because the very people who are supposed to go and mandamano to remove him are looking at Raila to tell them to go remove Ruto. But these people, Raila will tell them, instead of going to Mandamano or whatever, Raila will tell them, even if they go to Mandamano, they will go for Mandamano in order to create for a new constitution, so that Raila can have a new position. It will not be Mandamano because they want to remove Ruto. No, it won't. It will be to create a new position for the opposition, whatever the case, and those chief cabinet secretary positions, those nonsense that you saw in NADCO, okay? It won't be for removing Ruto. So what I'm saying is this: the Azimio folks who are angry and want Ruto out, okay, they will not remove Ruto, because Raila Odinga will tell them, wacheni kujali, we are going, I've talked to Ruto. Ruto has agreed to bring the price of oil down. He has agreed to Abnenio. So tusijali, tungoje 2027. And 2027 will come and the same thing will happen. Like I said, there are two parts in this. The people who are supporting the Kenya Kwanza, they are not happy with Ruto, but they are not ready to see him leave, okay? All right? So maybe they might be unhappy with Ruto, but they don't want to see him leave. But there's the Mio folks, watapoeshwa na Raila. Raila will tell them, hey, listen, it's okay. I'm about to, I've negotiated with Ruto. Ruto's had agreed to bring the cost of living down, fuel down, and the taxation down. But in reality, he will not. And, what watapoa tu vile, the same thing he did with Kenyatta. When Kenyatta will do whatever he wants, and no one will fight, because everybody that wants change, unfortunately, is looking at Raila for Mandamano, is looking at Raila for the next step. You shouldn't. That's my message for today. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, it's been 51 minutes. I almost did 1 hour. Woo! I can't believe it. I want to recognize people. Yaya 2K, Brother Benson, Goodyear. Thank you for coming in, supporting the channel, and giving your views. And Mr. David Lefon too. Thank you for tuning in. I will now sign off. Maybe you might see me in another channel, jumping in some panel just to discuss these wonderful things, because I know we all love our great country, Kenya, and we love our continent, Africa, and we want to bring change. Help me open the eyes of the millions. Help you. I know your eyes are open. Spread the gospel of change and revolutionary movement. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you later. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go to my channel. My channel is Kenyan Revolutionary. Type it on YouTube. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and all that good stuff. I will see you in the next tomorrow, or maybe the next time you see me, I go live. Hit it so you can see me when I go live anytime. Okay. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you later. As Kenya, we love revolving doors. Thanks, Rebel. Thank you, Goodyear. Thank you, good. We need to give you a present, Goodyear. You've been supporting all the channels, and you're always there. So we need to give you something small for this festive Christmas time. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you later, and peace and blessings.